Election Day. Here in Western Prince William, the city of Manassas and the city of Manassas Park, we feel really confident about our chances to win this election, despite last-minute infusion of money coming in from Governor Youngkin's Spirit of Virginia PAC. We know that on Monday, he put in $116,000 into the Republican running against me. And we know that the RSLC, which is an out-of-state group, put in $100,000 previously, and the governor had also put in $150,000 previous. At the same time, we are also seeing my challenger, the overwhelming majority of his fundraising is coming basically from the party, whereas mine's coming from the people. By far, we've had thousands of donations in this campaign, but one of the most significant that we have is we've had about 300 unique donors just in Western Prince William, Manassas Park alone, which through the September report was almost more donations than my challenger had grand total from all of his sources. And one of the things we're really looking at this year is not only how are we doing with that early vote, and our early vote modeling right now shows that we believe we are likely to have a lead right now. I have to say it kind of like that because obviously ballots are not going to be counted until Election Day. But based on who we identified in the field over the summer and even in the spring and into the fall and who's turning up, we believe that we are in a really good position right now in regards to early vote. We've had more than 10,000 votes cast, in this area. And one of the things that's really resonating is in this area is the fact that not only am I at the top of the ticket here as a 3-term state delegate who's passed 41 bills into law, all with bipartisan support, including 12 bills to feed hungry kids, one of which HB 5113 from the 2020 special session, led the city of Manassas and the city of Manassas Park to provide universal free school breakfast and lunch to every single kid in our public school systems in the 2 cities, no questions asked. And we've now increased CEP enrollment in Prince William County schools to more than 40 schools out of 100, which is incredible. At the same time, we still have work to do. Because I've got a record of deliverables, and not just with school meals, but securing $33 million to fix the local roads here, including $24.5 million to fix Route 28 with innovative intersection designs, a raised median, and 1.75 miles of contiguous sidewalk between Manassas Park and Yorkshire, $8.9 million for 2 modern roundabouts along Rollins Ford Road between Gainesville and Haymarket to prevent any significant and even fatal crashes that we've had over there. And because of help deliver mass transit to Haymarket and Northern Gainesville for the first time, including the Heathcote Boulevard to Arlington OmniRide commuter bus system, and the first time now that we actually have outside the Beltway OmniRide commuter buses running from the Manassas part of I-66 to the Dulles corridor. I've got a lot of things I get to talk about, when I'm going door to door. And whereas the other side, their closing message is transphobia, transphobia, transphobia. That's what everything that they're doing, that it's all coming back on that issue. And if they think that this election is going to be any different with that message just because they have more money behind the message, it won't be. We will win this election just like we did against the self-described chief homophobe of Virginia in 2017, just like we did in 2019, just like we did in 2021. And at the same time, we also look back to, if you look at the past being prologue in this case, and you see what they're campaigning on right now in terms of, their attacks on trans kids, it's all the same stuff that my predecessor, Delegate Bob Marshall, who's the self-described chief homophobe of Virginia, it's the sort of bills that he put in, like HB 1612 from 2017. Well, what was his other claim to fame? He was the most anti-abortion legislator in the country over 26 years, not just Virginia, not just the South, the country over 13 terms in 26 years. And considering that a bill like HB 1612 in 2017 was so extreme that the 66-34 Republican majority in the House of Delegates killed it in 2017, specifically when their 6-2 majority on the number 4 subcommittee of the House General Laws Committee killed that bill, it's not much of a stretch to think that where the Republican Party is in Virginia today is basically where Bob Marshall was 6 years ago. And when you have someone who was the only member of the entire House of Delegates to vote against allowing doctors to prescribe 12 months of birth control in one setting, for example, when you have someone who was putting in the Life Begins at Conception legislation, this is where they're going. And we've seen this in other states right now. And at the same time, those are also the same values that Jim Jordan has, and now his third failed speaker run. And yet he's continuing to stick in it. And it's incredible to think that more than 190 Republicans each time keep voting for him, including some members of Virginia's delegation, by the way, not all, but some of the members. And so one of the things I look at here is, okay, what is going to be our message? How do we contrast what they're doing with what we're doing? I'm running on my record of deliverables for this district and what I'm going to continue doing. You show me a Democratic majority in the state Senate and the state House delegates, and I will show you a state budget that includes universal free school meals for all kids in Virginia, no matter where they live, period. If you show us Democratic majorities in the state Senate and the House of Delegates, I'll show you legislation that increases transportation funding after we had more than 1,000 Virginians get killed on Virginia roadways last year. And the Republicans tried to gut $700 million plus from our transportation funding last year. I will show you responsible governance with this. And at the same time, we will also make sure that we protect voting rights. And I guarantee you, we will, if you have Democratic majorities in the House and the Senate, we will pass the first reading that we need of the two necessary for 3 constitutional amendments. Number 1 is automatic restoration of voting rights. This had bipartisan support when we put it forward in 2021 and 2022 in both chambers. And then when we had to have the second vote on it in 2022, and we tried to do it again this year, Speaker Todd Gilbert refused to allow a vote on this on the House floor. So we tried to basically have a rules change to allow a discharge petition with only a basic majority need to get to the floor. And all their members killed that rules change procedural vote. Number 2, we will repeal and replace the Marshall-Newman Amendment, which bans marriage equality in Virginia, which is just simply unenforceable, even though at the national level, we saw Justice Thomas call out in the Dobbs decision that he wants the Agrafel versus Hodges decision struck down next. We, again, in Virginia, 2021, when we had our Democratic trifecta, we passed marriage equality in a constitutional amendment in the state Senate. We got it to the state and in the state House, both with bipartisan support. But yet Speaker Gilbert would not allow a vote on that on the House floor. And finally, we will have a constitutional amendment protecting your right to safe legal abortion care in Virginia, where, again, the state Senate has supported this. And at the same time, Speaker Gilbert has refused to bring this to the House floor. Their side's campaigning on a ban. Our side is campaigning on a statewide referendum to the people. Do you want to codify the existing protections that we have in state law now? The Democratic Party does not support more restrictions. We support the law as it is today. And I think this is something where, whether you're running in a Newport News area like Senator Mason's doing, whether you're running in Northern Virginia like I'm doing, or in any of our battleground areas, this is an area where, when the Republicans have tried to say, oh, well, don't you support 40 weeks? Don't you support this? We had our trifecta government in 2020 and 2021, and the laws that are in place now are what we voted for. This is where the party is. This is where our Democratic majorities in the House and Senate were, and this is where our candidates stand today. And so with that, I'd like to pitch it over to Senator Mason to talk about what's